Good morning, my dear friend. Today is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day if you're a father, my dear friend. Also, happy Mother's Day too. If there's a father, there must be a mother too. I would take this special day to say thanks to my dad, my father. My dad passed away 12 years ago. Actually, it was my father's death wake me up. But it was until 4 years later, which means in 2012, I have had this experience of awakening. I was washing dishes in a summer night. My two kids beside me are demanding food, and I was cooking, after cooking and preparing food for them, I have to clean dishes, clean tables. Also, my wife helped, and after that, we have take care of their study too. As a Chinese, we have a very good tradition of have a big push on kids' study to learn. So in the chores of life, when I washing dishes, suddenly I have a question: why? And why was I doing this? I feel tired. I was in the school for acupuncture, full-time study, and after one day study, cooking, fish, I feel tired, and I just moved into Victoria half a year, and the language is a barrier. All kinds of life stressors make me ponder this question: why I'm doing this? To have choice of life, to immigrate to Canada. I'm kind of tired and try to avoid this tiredness, this choice of life. When I'm thinking this, suddenly I realize my parents have done this for their kids, 3 child, more than 18 years, almost without any complaining. But now I'm washing dishes, I'm complaining it. I suddenly realize that during or in the chores of life, especially when parents are taking care of their kids, their huge love and care in every details of these chores, cleaning, changing diapers, feed the food. But I have taken this for granted for almost 30 years. At that moment, after 4 years of my father passing away, I burst in a huge cry. Almost 30 minutes of crying. I feel so sorry that I didn't recognize my dad and my mom's greatest love, and I take that greatest love for granted for almost 30 years, more than 30 years. And at that time, as a dad and raising two kids, I felt it contains huge efforts and care and love in raising the kids. As a father myself, I realize it, my father's and mother's love and care and effort. I burst into a huge cry. First 10 to 15 minutes is kind of, I feel so sorry. The crying was so loud that the neighbors come. They want to see what's happened. They want to caress me, maybe, to not to be so sad. But at that moment, I just want to cry. After 15 minutes, I felt it's not a cry for my, unconscious of my parents' love. It transformed into a kind of energy releasing. I cried and cried until I feel my body was emptied. Actually, I felt so good after crying. I felt my meridians and channels like opened. My heart was opened. And no one could stop me crying at that moment until I Like crying is kind of my expression. First is say sorry to my parents, especially for my father's death, which I didn't cry too much in 4 years. But that time is a huge cry over his death. Second is I release such a stress of life, and gradually from that day I can recognize more and more, gradually, the love and care contains in the details of other people's behavior, like a smile. Also, the love and care from the nature, from the air, from the sunlight, from raindrops. I gradually developed a consciousness or awareness of this infinite love that we are immersed in. I developed kind of gratitude. Yes, gratitude to everything I see, I touch, I smell, I eat, I taste, I hear, and even to these days, to what I think. You see, everything we do, we hear, we touch, we listen, we think, is a magic happening. Don't take it for granted. It's a biological evolution, starting from the 4.2 billion years ago, from a single cell to multiple cell to more complex organism to non-vertebrate animal to vertebrate animal to birds, mammals, vertebrate, and human. It takes Mother Universe 13.8 billion years of evolution, cosmologically and biologically, to have you, my dear friend, and me, and she and he, every animal, every plant, every human in planet Earth, on planet Earth, is a magical, unique product of this evolution. And every happening we can hear, we can see, we can touch, is a wholesome expression of cosmic intelligence. Everything, every nothing contributes to this expression. Right at this moment, you can listening to my voice because your computer or phone and internet that connects us. Without this computer, phone, Wi-Fi, or internet, we cannot talk to each other. Don't take this for granted. At least it involves thousands of people's design, production, delivery, creation, technology. You see, everything you can see and touch involves a teamwork. A teamwork of different groups of people. A teamwork of body and mind. A teamwork of humanity and nature. Nothing exists solely. Everything is the unique expression of wholesomeness, oneness. Again, today's Father's Day. I would like to take this opportunity to say thanks to all the fathers in the world. Also, without mother, without father. As a father, I feel family is a real place to practice in the path of awakening. Family means a bondage that you cannot avoid, especially the relationship between parents and child, or child and parents. In this relationship, you cannot avoid it because this relationship is deep in our blood cells, deep in our genes, which means as parents, as a father, you have to take care of your kids. It's an unconditional love. Actually, I started to realize this unconditional love right in my process of raising the kids. I have 3 kids now, 12, 8, and 5. So it's kind of art to not only raise them up, but also kind of education. So it's action and reaction. You have to adjust your attitude knowledge in which you have to express your unconditional love in a proper way. And in this relationship, you cannot just say, I want to give up because it's too difficult or there's challenge, especially when you raise up, when your kids grows up teenager. It's a huge art of teaching or educating or friendship too. There's huge knowledge. And you have to express your love to your kids in a different way. It's unconditioned because it's your kids. It's your child. And if it's your partner, when the difficulty and challenge and differences and quarrels and fights developed into a level to a divorce, then you can say goodbye to your partner. But to your kids, you cannot say goodbye. You could not have a divorce or disconnection. You have to face the difficulty or challenges unconditionally. So in this sense, a family with kids has more chance of, in terms of awakening. Because as parents, you experienced unconditional love, which is the core, the essence of spiritual awakening. When you understand in the relationship of father and child, or mother and child, in that relationship there's unconditional love, then you gradually understand in the relationship of nature and you, there's an unconditional love too. In that term, the nature have never give up or disconnect from us or say goodbye. Sunlight is always there. The air, the oxygen is always there. Raindrops, trees, oceans, plants, the infinite ocean of love is always there to support you, to support me, to support everybody's survival. Can you recognize that infinite love, unconditional love from Mother Nature or from Father Nature? So that's awakening. And that recognition is free. You don't need pay any money for that recognition. It's free in terms of no cost. Also, it's free in terms of freedom. When you recognize this infinite love contained from Mother Nature or in the Mother Nature or in the Mother Father, in this Father's Day, I use this word. you will feel you are so rich, so cared and loved. You will raise the sense of gratitude, may be very strong, which I did around 8 years ago from my parents. You see, Universal Mom has waiting for your awakening, for your recognition of her infinite love. For this moment, Universal Mom has been waiting 13.8 billion years already. She already had 110 billion humans or child or children who has been walking on the planet Earth in the past 10,000 years, including now, this generation. 110 billion human have been walking on this planet Earth, and this not include infinite animals, bacteria, insects, plants. All these